So welcome, good afternoon or good morning or good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Lauren Camachi and I'm one of your hosts for today's webinar. I am the marketing content creator here at Inedo, and
I'm Rich Hessinger. I'm one of the products engineers here at Inedo.
And we are excited to share with you today some exciting new stuff about BuildMaster 6.2 application templates. So take it away, Rich.
All right, so what's new in BuildMaster 6.2? Well, we have added new Git-based configurations, which allows you to store your different assets like your script files, your pipelines, and whatnot inside of Git directly, and allows you to use different things like Git branching to manage them. We have split up our resource credentials into secure resources and secure credentials to allow us to manage them at a higher security level and keep a better kind of global configuration around them.
We have also made our first class support for packages extend over to containers as well. And we are very glad we hold these via web because we are able to do this remote. So we are planning to have another webinar on April 1st at the same time, 3 p.m., to discuss how we support containers now. And of course, today we are going to discuss with you template-based applications.
So slow time to market is unsustainable in 2020. The most successful companies get applications out of the developers' hands into the hands of their customers as fast as possible, without ever compromising security and compliance.
Right. So in 2020, really, this isn't a good practice. It's really the only practice now.
Exactly. And in order to do that, you have to have an unprecedented time to market, as well as total data security, 100% compliance. Everybody wants those 3 nines of availability.
So this is, I imagine, pretty complicated because before it was sort of either or, right? You'd be really, really fast, but maybe play a little fast and loose with compliance, or you'd be very, very rigorously compliant, but you'd have to go a lot slower.
Exactly. So what are the problems of keeping that total compliance at that speed? Well, first off, the upfront costs of development without an immediate return on interest can scare away stakeholders from investing in their IT departments. Also, with all the different technologies out there, different teams are spread across different tech stacks and they use different tools, which is hard to keep security and compliance under control when dealing with those. Mm-hmm. There's a lack of security and compliance when devs release right to production, because sometimes they like to release right from my machine, and that is really bad when it comes to the compliance world.
Right.
And time and talent is wasted on devs if they're just sitting on the applications they created waiting for compliance to approve their apps.
Right, of course.
So, and then a big transition is happening right now between monolith applications and moving them all to microservices. That can be really overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Microservices without automation really drain those business resources. Let's look at 1,000 microservices. And you could say 1,000 microservices, that's a lot.
Yeah, my face is definitely saying that right now.
Well, it's the truth, because big applications, you need to separate those into each individual operation, which ends up creating a lot of small applications you have to deploy. And if each of those applications take an hour to deploy, each deploy cycle is going to have a lot of hours wasted at that.
Yeah, I can't think of a single company who has 1,000 human hours to waste per application being split into microservices. No business can afford that.
No. So what have other companies done to do this? They've created different templates to help with this build automation. But some of the problems with this are they're so broad and basic that they're not very useful directly out of the box. They tend to be at more of a script level versus an entire application level. Mm-hmm. So really, you can create a bunch of custom ones at a script level, and then now you're stuck trying to maintain these. And a lot of these software companies out there end up creating duplicates every time you want to make a change. So now you're trying to figure out, hey, do I use the first one? Do I use the last one? Do you use the one in the middle? These all become a problem.
So they're really easy to create, but pretty hard to maintain.
Exactly. So Inedo is set out to change that with BuildMaster's redefined application templates. Right now, we have quite a few out there. We're adding more daily, and the hope is that we're going to start bringing in community support. Our goal is to get to a point where we have so many that this UI can't handle.
What makes these different? Let's talk about what makes them different.
So BuildMaster's application templates exist at an application level. They include all of the scripts, the variables, the pipelines, and all of those layers that keep your application running smoothly. We also include an application startup template that shows what can be changed and what is actually included in the actual template itself.
So I would imagine that this would make it a lot easier to speed up that process because the template is very flexible and easy to use, and it would probably make that 1,000 hours get cut down pretty significantly.
Exactly.
So I know one of our customers, WebMD, we spoke with software architect Aaron Jensen, who talked about their previous process and how it was quarterly or triannual releases, and that it would take a half-day manual checklist just to get everything going right. This, I imagine, would really, really significantly contribute to speeding that time factor up.
Oh, most definitely. So Inedo's BuildMaster application templates are also really easy to manage and create your own. So you can create your own to help work with your architecture specifically, as well as meet your specific security and compliance needs. They're also semantically versioned, so they're very easy to update and change and manage and really keep a good audit history of the different changes you make throughout the process.
So I imagine for companies working in industries where this strict compliance and security is really important, that would be a great, great help. I know for a fact that, and hello, Jody, I see that you're with us today. Jody Dorchester of Ronin Software talked about how they have, working with government agencies, need to maintain very strict compliance, but work very hard to work quickly. And we hope that these application templates will help industries who need to maintain that really strict compliance move at that lightning speed 2020 demands.
Yeah. So BuildMaster application templates are also very easy to use, and they're so easy that non-developers can actually use them and produce enterprise quality results, which is why we have Lauren here today.
You were probably wondering why I was here. So this is why I'm here. I am very smart and I'm very good at my job, but I don't know development from donuts. I do not know code from cats. I am not able to code on my own, but I am able to use these. So I've only tried running through this by myself 3 or 4 times, and I'm very grateful to have Rich here today to help bail me out of the few pickles I got myself into on my own. So what we're going to do now is we are going to let you see us so that we can give you a little bit more of a live view of this, and we'll get our instance of BuildMaster up and running so you can see how easy it is to use these application templates. So you should still be able to see our screen. So Rich has handed me instructions that I'm going to release something called the profit calculator, which, if I'm not mistaken, is our sort of basic tutorial application, but I'm going to do it using the application template.
Yep.
So here I go. All right, there are no applications in the system. Use create application to add one. Easy peasy, right here, no problems. Okay, create application. And here's that page we took that nice screenshot of for you. So we've got, all right, GitHub CI/CD I know is what I'm looking for. I'm just gonna scroll to look at the other ones I could pick from. I'm overwhelmed. Okay, we're going back here. All right, so profit calc. Okay, create application. And there it goes. And we're done. Literally, we're done. I just used the application template. That was how long it took.
Yep, we can end the webinar, right?
Okay, no, we're kidding. We're not going to end it here. That was as much as I would have to do if that was all that was needed to apply the template. But I know that there's a lot of stuff going on in this screen that we might want to do extra.
Yeah, so this is the application startup template screen. So the best part of this is, one, it shows you the different secure resources we use, but it also shows you the release pipeline as well as what stages are included. So has a nice description so you can read through these and understand what you have here.
Right, so rather than just a bunch of stuff that I could click and potentially mess up, it actually gives this nice description of each one to let me know what it is I'm changing if I click on that.
Exactly.
So I know for right now, if I click GitHub repository, if I just leave it be, there wouldn't be anything associated with it. So I need to point it towards the repository.
Exactly.
But I think it already did that.
Yes, so by default, this template actually points to Inedo's profit calc GitHub repository. Okay. But here's where you would go to change it to point it to a different GitHub repository. We also support other ones. We're not just GitHub. We have Git, we have SVN, we have a handful of them. So,
okay. So all I have to do here is hit save resource, right?
Yep.
Save resource. Is there anything else from all this that I have to do?
Nope. But I will let you know that once you create the first build, this application template will actually disappear.
Okay.
You can always go back and see it at any time by going to settings and.
So what, up here?
Yep. And then there's application setup.
Oh, right there.
Yep. That'll show you this screen again, so you can always go back into it later.
Great. Okay. Well then, next steps. Create your first build. Okie dokie. Let's do it. No active releases. Okay. All right. I know enough to be dangerous. Semantic versioning means we start with one that I just messed up. We start with one. Now, do I need to add a release name? It will replace the number. Okay. So no, I'm not going to add that.
Right. That's a very useful field if you're a company that uses code names. Like I always think of Ubuntu, Playstefon, really good example.
Okay.
If you put it in there in BuildMaster, you're going to actually see those code names. So you can always go through and review the history and see the different releases you've had.
Okay. So I can release this. Create release. Okay. All right. Now, do I need to change the build number? Nope. Okay. Am I allowed to put it in the master?
Yes. So
I know I'm not normally supposed to do that.
Our best practice is actually you always build from master and
Okay.
you just use different Git branches for development.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Well, then create build. And it's going to run on here. All right. Good deal. So you'll see it creates this log as it's going. I know that lets us know more details about what this bar. Oh, okay. Hang on. We're yellow. Okay. So I see a couple of different mixed messages on our traffic light here right now. I see that we've got the green means go, but we also have sort of the yellow means yield. We don't have
red.
We don't have red. We don't have red, so that's good. So I'm going to click on details to learn a little bit more. So I see, okay, succeeded with warnings. So succeeded means we could keep going, but the warnings is just letting us know something's up.
Yep.
So I probably can't read this, but you can. So what's going on here? So I do see at least it's pointing us to what
warnings we have.
Yeah.
So one of the great features of BuildMaster is we do highlight the output of the different build tools out there. And in this case, this is a warning. As a .NET developer, you know what this is. It's okay to move on from it, but you can come in and check it. I'd always keep an eye out in case, there is something that could actually be a problem.
So I'm okay to keep going.
You are okay to keep going.
All right, so let me go back to my build. All right.
Now, when it comes to our application templates, we try to use best practices for what the pipelines are for the template you chose. So in this case, we're an application, we go through integration, testing, production.
Right.
So in the case of these warnings too, it's okay because it's going to go to integration, which is where you should do your first round of testing anyways.
So I can deploy to integration?
Yes.
Okay. So if I wanted to, I could say that I deployed to integration and go. And we're running and we're logging, and after 3 seconds we're done, and this one has our green check mark, so I can go to this one now, right?
Well, technically in integration you should test it, so you should pull down the build artifact and give it a quick run.
Okay, build artifact. Now do I click no, download? Okay, download.
Save.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I gotta look for the profit calculator.
That's the one below.
Oh. What,
Yep,
this
that
one? Okay.
Yep.
This guy?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, and
So
it's
it
running.
works, so it's
we're
up
good.
and running, it's okay, so we could send it to the next person.
Yep, it's past integration.
Awesome, so that means I can do this now.
Yep.
Awesome, okay, here we go. And we'll see, oops. Deploy to testing. And run. Okay, another successful one, but now we have our orange guy here, so let's see what force says. Blocked because not all issues have been synchronized.
Yeah, so if you've seen BuildMaster before, you already know this, but BuildMaster has some really good integration with different issue trackers out there, and it allows you to synchronize all your issues to your release number. So then this way you can track an automated change list with each release. So in this case, we didn't configure that, perfectly fine, you're allowed to force it.
Okay, so I'm allowed to hit force.
Yep.
Force. Okay, LC forced to prod. Prod. Go. Go, go, go. Oh, why were we orange?
We actually also have really good integration with tagging different commits. So best practice is to tag the commit that was deployed with the release number. So in this case, since we're running anonymously with GitHub, can't tag it. So that's why the warning's there.
Okay.
That's expected. But if you ever want to see it, you, again, like we showed in build, you can click on the actual stage and you can see the execution where it failed, and as well as what the warnings are. So,
okay. So from the time I just started applying that application template to deploying to production, that took 4 minutes, and this was with me doing it. So how long would it have taken a developer to do this?
Well, for your application, pretty much you just need to change your source control, and then there you go. As long as you're using the same application architecture each time, not a problem.
So less than half the time.
Yes.
So the beautiful thing about this is that even someone who's either, I wouldn't say minimally competent, but minimally familiar with the tool would be able to still get through every gate and necessary checkpoint along the way to be able to get something out into the world as needed.
Exactly.
That's pretty exciting, because that would save a lot of time, not just for the business in general, but a lot of time in working with other developers to make sure everybody's getting better at what they do.
Yep. And it also allows you to leverage some of the more junior and mid-level resources to be able to create their own builds, because now you can take a senior level or a systems architect, have them build the initial architecture of it, and now your other developers are just reusing what's already been reviewed and approved. So it does really save some time on the back end.
So if we were doing that, we'd have to make our own of these, right?
Yep, and that's what I'm going to show you now.
Let's do it.
So as anyone will see, there's no way to make an application template that is just perfect for everybody. So we really pride ourselves on giving our customers a really good starting point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to make some simple changes to the pipeline. So I'm going to come in, release pipeline, came into my pipeline. I'm going to say, hey, let build automatically go to integration now, because why do you need to click deploy each time?
Oh, so if it goes through with a check mark, it'll let it keep going.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I see that. Okay, so where it had a little play button before, it has a fast forward button now. Okay.
Yep. I'm actually going to do the same thing to testing, but then you're like, well, wait, aren't you supposed to check integration testing? Well, of course. So in testing, I'm actually going to add a couple manual approvals in here. So I'm going to add past integration. And I'm also going to add some approvals for production. So, we want to track that, we passed our C testing, if I can type. As well as I've worked at a lot of companies where there has to be a director or senior manager that does the actual approval before something can go to production.
That seems only safe.
So I'm going to add manager approval here. Now, if you have a paid version of ProGit, you actually get some extra security. BuildMaster. Okay. You get some extra approval types here where you can actually select and say, hey, only users in this certain group can actually approve this step. So it allows you to build in some of that compliance right into your application template.
So the difference between BuildMaster Free and BuildMaster Paid is it's all the same functionality. It's just the different
restrictions,
the different administrative roles, because everyone's an admin in BuildMaster Free.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. So I made some basic changes here.
Okay.
I'm going to review. If you haven't seen this.
No, I haven't. Look at that with the. Okay.
So highlight your changes.
Would those be a different color if you had done something that would have broken it?
Yes, and you would actually get a different message at the top saying, hey, we think you may have broken this. Are you sure you still want to succeed?
Okay.
So I'm going to commit my changes.
Wait, when you hit commit, where did that just go?
So I mentioned the new Git-based configurations at the beginning of this presentation. So BuildMaster uses something called graphs. And in this case, by default, it uses the database graph, meaning it stores it in the database. But you could change it over to Git and it would store entirely in a Git repository.
Oh, okay. So right now it's in BuildMaster.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, now I'm actually going to publish it. So in order to save your own application templates, you do need a copy of ProGit installed. Now, the free version will work perfectly fine because just like BuildMaster, it's fully featured, just not the security pieces.
Okay.
So if you need those, like only certain people can publish these, well then yeah, you need to pay for ProGit.
Okay.
But at this point, we don't need that, so I'm just gonna come in here and I'm gonna actually publish this. Now, we talked about that awesome startup template. You do have the ability to create your own startup templates. I'm not gonna go through that right now, but you can do that. All right, I'm gonna come down here, export as application template.
Okay.
And I'm gonna call this the Inedo console app. And if you wanna put in a description or an icon, you can do that. And click export. Now this is gonna go right to our local ProGit instance here. All right, and I can come over to our ProGit feed, and I'm actually gonna search for that now. And there it is. So just like I mentioned before, semantically versioned, you can come in here, you can look at the different versions that have been published, as well as how to install it.
So that took a few more steps, and I would imagine it could take a little bit longer to create that, but once it's up and running, it's up and running.
Exactly. So yes, you have to invest time up front to set up the pipeline that works for your application architecture. Once you create it, then you can just reuse it.
Okay.
All right. So now that we've created it, Lauren, I'm going to have you run through it again with the new custom template.
What?
Yep.
Okay, so I have to do, this is different.
Before.
Is it?
It's fine.
Okay.
It's simple.
All right. Well, okay, so just do exactly what I did before.
Yep.
Okay.
Just name it something different, please.
Okay. So not this one.
Nope.
No.
So keep going.
Oh, okay. So this, when we did this before, there was nothing here, right?
Right.
Oh, so it will populate under user templates. Oh, okay, that makes sense, and I love this. So, okay, profit calc 1.
Sure.
Okay. Calc 1. Do I have to do this again?
No, because like what happened before, it's already defaulted, so you can kind of ignore that.
Okay, so I could just go to the next step.
Yep.
Okay. Same deal.
Yep.
Same deal. Okay. Okay. So it runs again. That's good. Same problem, but okay. Oh, so this is the thing you set up to let it just run straight through, which is how, if I didn't know that the orange meant it was okay to keep going, I wouldn't. That would save time. That would definitely save time.
And now, since our compliance team requires us to have these approvals for testing, now you can see we have a manual approval you need to.
So I can click it either under here, or I could go through here to get it?
Yep.
Okay, so past integration, LC past to testing, enter.
Now that's because our pipeline, we wanted it to automatically move through as soon as the approvals happen.
Okay. So I see I've hit, so my new checklist, as soon as I hit that enter button, this is what changed over to put this here.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, and it changed what happened over here. So 0 of 2 manual approvals received. Okay, so I bet this will change if I, okay, LC passed, RC testing, enter. Oh, yep. And it changed to 1 of 2 bent. Now, I'm not a manager, so you go ahead and manager approval.
Sure, and I'm gonna log in real quick because I just wanna demonstrate how it does track based off the logged in user here.
Okay.
So I'm gonna come in here, RH approved, click in the box. All right.
Oh,
and now
okay.
you can see it's approved by admin. Great. Now we can force it to production.
So now I can pick back up where I went along.
Yep.
So if I had tried to force it before, I wouldn't have been able to do that because these weren't ticked.
Right, and just like we talked about with the different security requirements, we could actually lock this down and say only this group can force these through, or even if we had manual deploy steps, only this group can manually deploy these stages.
Okay, so force.
Yep.
After approval, force. maybe. There we go. And okay, is that orange the same orange?
Yep, same tag.
And that's it. It's
Yep.
out. So brand new template that I would not sure that you were going to make me do. So thank you for making me do that. It really was actually even a little bit easier because things moved forward on their own.
Exactly. And we keep talking about compliance through this whole thing. You can still come back into here and see, hey,
Right.
you know, here's our approvals and who approved them.
Wow.
And even going back to the build history, we can see all those different builds. And since we set all that up in the template, the next person using this doesn't have to think about those approvals. They're there because that's what our compliance requires.
Right. Wow, that was actually really, really easy.
Yep.
That was really easy.
All right. So let's flip back here.
So we'd like to, I think, do a little recap here for you to tell you what you just saw if you weren't impressed enough already.
So BuildMaster's application templates exist at the application level. They include everything from scripts, variables, pipelines, all of that. It also includes an application startup template that makes it easy to know what's included in the application template and what you should change. They're easy to manage and create, as you saw. I quickly created one, and they're semantically versioned, so you can see the history of publishing and changes and by who.
So the long and short of it is that these guys are fast, they are secure, and they are, maybe more importantly than anything else, highly customizable.
Exactly.
So that is all we've got for you today. And now we'd love to hear some stuff off of you. If you have any questions at this point, we'd really love for you to type them into the question box here. And while you're sharing or thinking of any questions you'd want to ask, we did have one that came in ahead of time from someone that I was actually glad to see came in because I probably would have asked it otherwise. Can you explain a little bit more how these would help with security and compliance? Because I mean, there were a whole lot of templates on there that, I mean, that was a lot of choice. I was a little overwhelmed by the choice I had on that template.
So,
and we'll, if you want, let's put us back on so that you don't have to just stare at a blank PowerPoint screen. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so when it comes to different security and compliance restrictions, I always think of SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley Act. So very popular in public traded companies, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to implement. BuildMaster really helps with that, especially with these application templates, because you can go through and you can build the application template with those approvals, with those restrictions. And the biggest thing I've always remembered in SOX from a developer standpoint is a developer cannot deploy their own code to production, which is a big deal. So when doing that, we can build that right into BuildMaster. And even if a developer wants to set up a new build, they can pull in that application template and everything is pre-built out to say, hey, these are our compliance restrictions.
So who would be you said you could build them. I mean, who would build them?
Yeah, so typically these would be either your systems architects or your system engineers that are more of a senior level, and you would build these out and have your compliance team review them and approve them. And then once you publish those, then your junior devs, your mid-level devs, or even your senior devs can reuse them and still meet those requirements.
So just like what we did, where you made something and then I went in and used it, you could have something that's a compliant thing that then folks use.
Exactly.
So if you're working in an industry that only lets you build, I don't know, you're building houses out of Legos, and if you're only allowed to use red Legos, you would get the red Legos to me and then I would build them.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and it also allows you to lock other things down like secure credentials, secure resources, pipeline steps, and so on and so forth. So then this way, people that have to manage them, they can manage them, keep that secure. You can build that right into your application template. I actually skipped over a big one there, configuration files. That's another really big one. So BuildMaster has some great configuration file integration where you can actually build it based off of environments and only allow certain people to access each environment's config. So in this way, you can build that right into the application template. That config comes out with the application template when you install it, and boom, now you have that compliance already built in. So I do see a question on here about, is this available in BuildMaster 6.1?
Oh, yeah.
This is a BuildMaster 6.2 only feature. So you will need to upgrade to BuildMaster 6.2. If you're running 6.1 and you go to the update page inside of your administration, it has a nice link that brings you over to the change list, and it tells you the instructions on what you need to change. It is a rather big change, so definitely pay attention to those.
So don't do it but also we're not going to just sneak a change on you. The number of times I've come into one of the tools we use downstairs and it just says the new is available, refresh, and you have to use it then, and everything's different. So we're not going to spring this giant change on you because it is kind of a big change between 6.1 and 6.2.
Yeah, and that's why our model is you update when you're ready. We support many versions back, but to get these new features, you definitely need to upgrade.
Right. And so I want to ask a question about ProGet. You put that in ProGet. We have ProGet, obviously, but not everybody has ProGet.
Right. In this case, if you want to make your own application templates, you are required to use ProGet. Like I mentioned before, the free version does work fine as long as you don't have to restrict who can publish these different application templates. Yeah, I also noticed you mentioned before, like, hey, there's a lot of application templates there. How do I limit it to just mine? Well, in our case, I actually put a connector to Inedo's application templates. So then this way you can see all of them. But you could actually just only include your application templates in there. And if you want to take one of Inedo's and bring it over, you can actually go to our public ProGet. So proget.inedo.com. You can actually download our application template and upload it into your local ProGet. So then this way, you're really controlling which application template you can use in your BuildMaster instance.
Okay. Proget.inedo. We will make sure to send you that link directly when we follow up with you later. Do we have any other questions coming through at the moment? Looks like we might, okay.
And I think it's
having a little issue with the interface here, but I think we have probably used up about as much of your time as we can demand of you today as everybody gets ready to juggle working from home and wrangling children and cats and all that stuff. So we will say for now, adieu, and that if you are interested and available, we would love for you to join us on April 1st, where Rich and I will be back. I will not be driving the car on that one because containers can be really overwhelming and really scary, even though they're easy. But we in BuildMaster 6.2 have really worked hard to make them a lot more easy to use and a lot more compliant. So Rich will be leading that webinar, but I will be back here with him, and we hope we will see you then. And we will definitely be following up with this video later and with some links to some stuff you might want to take a look at. We're so grateful you joined us today, and we look forward to working with you, we hope.
Thank you very much, guys.